Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. My name is Alina, and you're watching the Sleep Coach School channel. In this video, I wanted to share with you one insight that I think that can help someone who is struggling with practicing acceptance to unlock that acceptance, to make it a little bit easier, a little bit more accessible. And this insight is coming from my personal experience because I found acceptance to be one of the most difficult things on the recovery journey. It's understandable because we are going through something that is so uncomfortable, so terrifying, so unpleasant, and it's understandable that our whole being resists this experience. So when we find ourselves awake, when we experience, let's say, hypnic jerks or any sort of things that we don't like about insomnia experience, we begin to resist this, understandably so. And then when we begin to practice openness, willingness to go through whatever night there is, accepting night for what it is, we often stumble upon the difficulty that even though we are willing to embrace wakefulness, to accept it, we find it incredibly difficult or even impossible in that moment to find that acceptance in us. So if you were struggling with something like this, know that you're not alone. Know that this is completely normal and natural for this process. It doesn't mean that you cannot ever reach that state of acceptance, reach that place of no longer struggling and fighting with wakefulness, but it takes time and it takes a process to get there. So the insight that I want to share with you is basically the title of this video, which is before accepting a situation, first accept yourself in that situation. And I find that this is something that can help us to reduce a lot of pressure that we are feeling towards accepting certain things. When we don't find it in ourselves to accept wakefulness, we don't have to force it, because acceptance is not achieved through force. It's not something that we can voluntarily do at command. Sometimes, for whatever reason, acceptance is not available to us, and that's okay. We don't have to force it, right? But what I noticed that can make it a little bit easier for us to experience even the most uncomfortable moments is to accept ourselves in that situation. So that means accepting all of our imperfect reactions, all of our imperfect feelings, thoughts, and behaviors, not judging ourselves for it, not condemning ourselves. And accepting ourselves first can actually open a gate to a greater and greater acceptance. And so maybe we can start by asking ourselves, okay, how do I really feel about this particular situation? Instead of trying to pretend like we are not bothered by being awake, or trying to act zen, or like it's not big deal, or we don't care, right? We can actually look deep inside of us and see, like, okay, what sort of feelings that I'm actually experiencing right now. And we might find that there is fear, there is resistance, there is frustration, there is anger, and instead of trying to change that, we can start to validate those experiences and acknowledge and give them space. So, for example, when I was struggling with, especially for me, in the journey, like my most feared experience was all-nighters. This was something that I was struggling with a lot. And for a very long time, I was resisting them so much. I No matter how hard I tried to embrace an all-nighter, to just stay relaxed and stay kind of like unbothered by it, I kept feeling so scared of it, so disappointed when it would happen. And so clearly in those times, accepting an all-nighter was not available to me. And what I started noticing when I became very honest with myself about how I felt about that experience, paradoxically, something eased up a little bit. Some sort of like pressure reduced in relation to that situation. So I started, acknowledging that I really dislike those all-nighters. Frankly, I hate them. I wish they never happened. I wish there was something that I could do to, not experience them. And instead of trying to cover up those genuine feelings, I actually, made them very conscious and approach them with understanding and validation. I allowed myself to dislike with all my heart those experiences. And when I stopped fighting myself, I noticed that overall resistance to experiencing an all-nighter started to shift. It didn't instantly become more acceptable, but something started to be changing. I was no longer fighting myself. And this is when I started noticing, like, okay, maybe we don't have to really force acceptance here. We can actually start with accepting ourselves in the situations that we are in. If we don't like something, or if we think that, oh, I'm not, or we are not reacting to it in a certain way, we can acknowledge that and allow that to happen. And even the moments when we find ourselves resisting certain experiences, we can actually make it okay for resistance to be there. So accepting the non-acceptance is also a form of acceptance. Accepting our dislike of our experiences is also acceptance. So we don't have to look only into the direction like, okay, I must accept my wakeful nights, right? We can also begin with accepting something that is more possible for us to accept. For example, I accept that I really hate this experience. I accept that I wish it didn't happen. And so with that greater acceptance of ourselves, what can happen is that we are no longer forcing anything. We are no longer trying to pretend or act like nothing is happening. We are being very honest and genuine about this. And something about our perception of the situation starts to change. We are no longer experiencing so much resistance, so much fear, because we know that whatever we are feeling in relation to that experience is okay as well. So I just want to invite you to consider the possibility of meeting your experiences without force, and rather starting with accepting yourself in those experiences with all the things that you think that are not okay in this process. Let's say I should not react to this way. I should be more accepting. I should be more, the usual struggle people go through is that I have to enjoy being awake, right? But there are a bunch of times when we just simply cannot enjoy it, right? So can we actually start with accepting that, accepting our genuine preference or our genuine dislike of this experience without forcing anything, and just to see like how that eases some of this pressure that we are feeling. And this can actually be the gateway to greater and greater acceptance. So I hope that this video was helpful for some of you. Maybe it clarified certain aspects. Feel free to ask questions, and thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day.
Hi, it's me, Coach Daniel, and I hope you are feeling excited right now because you're so close to the finish line of insomnia. And if you found that aha moment you've been looking for in this video, please share it with the world. Because insomnia can be such a lonely and isolating place before you find our community. Speaking of which, if you would like some more personalized support on your journey, then head over to thesleepcoachschool.com. We have free and paid courses available with certified sleep coaches who have seen the worst of insomnia, left the struggle, and now are ready to help you. If you decide to join, we look forward to seeing you on the other side.